Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, as you can see, it was just a beautiful, amazing morning, and I wanted to share that with you guys. It was a crisp morning. It was about 28 degrees. So I enjoyed, taking that video, but I gotta say by the end of the walk, my hands are like frozen because I can't wear my gloves. But I'm in my little nook today. That's what I call it. When I came to look at this ranch 6 years ago almost, this room just really captured my heart because it's just a little side room off the back of the house, and it's nothing special. It's not insulated. It gets absolutely freezing in the wintertime. In fact, the door lock will literally freeze up with icicles. But there's certain times of the year where it's just really nice to sit in and enjoy the view. But today, what I'm doing is I had mentioned a couple videos ago that I didn't do a garden this year because I needed to do some kind of restructuring of it due to pests that invaded my crops the prior year. But I did manage to get out there and throw out some sunflower seeds that I had saved from the prior year. And it to me it felt like not a responsibility, but just kind of one of those things where it's neat to see, you buy the seeds, you put them in the ground, and you get a few. I didn't get as many last year as I did this year. And the thought of just leaving them out there to just crumble and die and not save the seeds to do it next year and what have you was too hard for me to let go of. So I got out there, I planted some. I ended up having some really beautiful sunflowers this year. And right before the last kind of snowy rainstorm came, I went and cut a bunch of them down and had them hanging up here in my house for the seeds to dry out. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to pull these out and put them in this mason jar here. But I wanted to hop on here because, well, I saw something in an article that I think is worth noting, that we may have another. I don't think it's anything new, but I definitely think it's another boiling frog that we really need to pay attention to. Quite recently, there's been a big controversy, and I guess it's going to get really controversial because the election will be coming up soon in New York for the mayor that is openly a socialist. Uh, I've said this before on my channel. I do not believe in any of that. All economic systems are corrupt, and our country happens to have, in my opinion, the lesser of evils, and that's capitalism. But I saw this article show up in my news feed, and I found it a little disturbing. Why don't you take a look? So this article is basically it's from a New Jersey lawmaker who wants to run a pilot program nationwide for the next 3 years for 10,000 Americans to have guaranteed basic income for their living expenses and enough to cover rent for a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, there are plenty of in need out there. Don't get me wrong. This is not me doing my best to sound insensitive to people in need. Trust me, I'm very sensitive to it. But there's a few things that I've, again, connecting the dots, look at, and it just doesn't make sense. First of all, we're experiencing a government shutdown right now, which is, as of next month, affecting 40 million Americans that rely on the government's basically guaranteed income for food, and they're not getting it. We have Amazon that's going to be laying off up to 30,000 employees this week. And I've heard rumors, I don't know if it's true, but some people are saying that by 2030, there will be over 600,000 layoffs from Amazon. We have farmers that are struggling, that have nowhere to sell their crops, and they can't afford to plant new crops. The cost of food is just exorbitant, and our inflation is back up to 3%. So if we look at this guaranteed basic income experiment over the next 3 years, basically those funds will be put aside for that, so there wouldn't be any interruptions, I would imagine, going forward. However, what happens if you have a government shutdown again after the trial era of this? Also, who owns these apartments? I'm just wondering, how many people out there that have rental properties, how would they can't raise their rates, or how would that work? What if they want to raise the rent on it, and are they going to get told they can't because the government has already allotted the people living there a certain amount for rent? And now you have a group of Americans, and I'm assuming it would be the majority of the people that already qualify for these SNAP benefits and different food incentive programs, which again is 40 million Americans. So if this is the pool that we're looking at of people that qualify for this sort of guaranteed basic income, it doesn't only, they are not the only ones now dependent on this income. You have anyone who is associated with owning these apartments counting on the government to give these renters the money to pay for the rent. So now they are dependent on the government. And where does it stop? What if the people start saying, hey, I need a cost of a living adjustment. This isn't affordable anymore, that the guaranteed basic income that you're giving me doesn't cover everything. I don't have enough for food, or I don't have enough for gas to get to work. And then the people that are working their ass off to pay for their rent because they don't qualify for this kind of benefit, where's the incentive to keep working and be able to take care of yourself? I mean, if you happen to lose your job or you can't afford your life, it sounds like the government wants to find a way to pay for you. And why would you try then? Why would you even try to continue to pay for yourself when the government's just going to do it for you? This is the problem with these kind of programs, is you cannot sustain a population that has no incentive to work or take care of themselves, and gradually just everybody starts relying on the government. I'm all for a balance of government, and I do believe that there's a huge imbalance right now, and it's a big problem. And not that I've said this before, I'm an independent. I'm very libertarian in spirit. But I don't think it's good what's happening to the Democratic Party as far as them being just plowed over. But I got to tell you, when people think of Democrats, this is what they're thinking of. And this is not a way to win back your party. This is not a way to, you know, prove to the other side that your methods and your ideas are sustainable, because this is not. That's not to say I don't believe in assistance. And I wanted to show you two other articles that I did find this morning that actually brought a tear to my eye. Check out these two articles. What I loved about this was that they are programs that are making the most of what's already out there. So we had I guess we're having some feral swine issues here. I haven't seen any around here, but I mean, how amazing is that, in my opinion? I'm sure there's some pasty vegans out there that would disagree, but to take a problem and rather than just shooting them all and euthanizing them and dumping them into the landfill, our government, our local government, our state government has found a way to utilize that and feed people. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And the other article about this free daycare center, one of the women that was interviewed in that article stated that she had just moved here with her husband, and they had a 2-week-old. He's in the military, so they were over at Malmstrom Air Force Base, and their stuff had got lost in the move. And so he's at work. She's got a 2-week-old, and she was losing her mind. She had really bad postpartum, and she had no family, no friends. And I can tell you, I know what that feels like to live in an area with none of that. I couldn't imagine having a 2-year-old. And so she called up the program and she just said, I, I, I took her there for a couple of hours and I was able to shower and just relax for a minute and collect myself. And, that could have that could have meant the difference between something really bad happening to her or her child or not. The other one was a woman who was in nursing school and full time, and was in a relationship with her boyfriend, well, now her ex-boyfriend, and had a small child. And when she left that situation because it was not healthy, she was trying to figure out how she was going to finish school so that she could become a working, productive member of society and take care of her child. And she basically said without this assistance program, she wouldn't have been able to do that. So you would have had someone with full capability, full incentive to have a working, contributing job, that would have had to sit back and take government hand-downs. I have a favorite saying. Actually, I have two favorite sayings. But the one I want to use is, if you give a man a fish, they eat for a day. If you teach a man how to fish, he eats for a lifetime. If we sit back and we start relying on our government to pay for everything and don't have an incentive and just think life's free, I mean, no need to get up in the morning and brush your teeth and put your boots on and go out and, brave the world. Just sit in your house. The government will pay for it. You can, scroll your feed all day with your thumb until you can't move it anymore and rot away? I'm curious what you guys think about this, because that's what makes politics, right? The world goes around. Everybody has different views, different experiences, different opinions, different solutions. I would really hate to see our America and what it was founded on, and I say this a lot, give up. We just there's still so much to work for. I mean, we live in a beautiful, beautiful chunk of land, and we're admired worldwide for everything that we have. And it's not fair to not do our part to maintain that and do what we can to contribute and nurture our economy system that we've based it on since we've been a country. Again, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on it, because I'm open. I'm not closed-minded at all. I've enjoyed reading your guys' comments and your thoughts on it, and they're always welcome, as long as they're constructive and with kindness. I'm going to finish picking out these sunflower seeds. I don't think I got as many seeds out of them as I thought I was going to get, but that's okay. I've got not much so far, but some's better than none. And just like these seeds here, this is, talk about full circle. Wow. I could have got these seeds from the government, planted them, threw them out. What would have been my incentive to go out there and save them and nurture them and dry them out and put them away and, save them for next spring when it's time to plant them, and continue to do that when I could just let them die and, the government will give me some more. Well, what happens when the government doesn't have more seeds to give you? How do you, how would you keep growing your sunflowers? You can't. So anyway, guys, I hope everyone's doing well, and take care.